What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Team Next Team Revival team call for what is the date today? March 28th. And we're going to jump right into this. What we're going to do right now is we're going to go into a video. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to watch a video that is from a girl named Micah Folsoms. She's incredible, an incredibly successful coach. But nonetheless, she's got a really solid training on, it's called Do Your Crap. And it's basically just like doing the vital things that we need to do every day, but she explains it very well and explains why it's important and how it's important. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to watch that. It's about 20 minutes long. And then we're just going to share our takeaways and kind of hash it out and do a little roundtable on it at the end for a few minutes. And that'll be all there is to it. So I'm going to share my screen real quick and we'll jump in. Does anybody have any questions before we do that? Okay. So I'm going to jump in here. Alrighty, and okay. And can somebody say, you can see that, right?
Yep.
And do me a favor, guys, and just mute yourselves if you will. Make sure you're muted.
How sweet is Lauren? I just want to hug her. Okay, I am going to get to talk with you guys about something that if you've seen any of my trainings on YouTube, or if you know me or know my style of coaching, you know that I have built a Superstar Diamond 2 team with all of the unsexy things. I'm basic, I'm simple, I'm not complicated, and I'm not fancy. So I know that while people are struggling and while sometimes you feel like, I don't know how to do this anymore, I've lost it, I don't have it anymore, people aren't responding, what got you here actually will get you wherever you want to go as long as you keep doing the stuff, okay? So today I'm going to talk about letting it flow and how to not only continue momentum in your business, but recreate momentum. If you're feeling like you're in a slump or your business isn't where you want it to be, just some ideas on how to get it back going, okay? So coaching really is like riding a bike. I really thought about stealing one of the team building things and riding out, but I already bitched once yesterday, so didn't want to make it number 2. But we have activities in our business that keep us moving, that build balance, and that as long as we're doing those things, we'll continue moving, and we'll continue going, and we'll continue progressing. But as soon as we stop, and as soon as we take on other responsibilities and forget this stuff, that's when our business starts to take a downward spiral, okay? You can't control the winds, but you can adjust the sails. We all know that things have changed over the past couple of years. We went digital, volume dipped, we lost some products, we went international. All of these things have come into our business. And a big thing that we've been talking about all weekend is being innovative and really learning how to evolve as people and as leaders and as CEOs of our businesses. But as we innovate and as we have new ideas and as we use our passions and our creativity in our business, we still have to do certain fundamental things that move us forward. And those are the things that are 100% duplicatable to new coaches and help them gain momentum too. So I experienced kind of a shift in my business with the All Access. I had to figure out how I wanted to run my challenge groups. I had to figure out how I wanted to talk about it. I had to figure out just how I wanted to do things moving forward. And what I was doing for the first 3 years, so I've been coaching for 4 years now, and what I was doing for the first 3 years started not to work as well as it had been working before. And so I'm like, shoot, like, what's wrong with me? Like, I had that second of, why is this not working anymore? And I relied a lot on traction marketing. I had this big fear of being that super sharky, annoying Beachbody coach that like attacked everyone who was already on a fitness journey. And so I let these things kind of hold me back from doing certain activities that I should have been doing, like inviting and like doing some of the fundamental activities. And so I went super proactive as far as promoting my challenge groups and doing things where people were coming to me. Well, then all of a sudden they weren't coming as frequently. And I was like, okay, I got to take a step back and I got to figure out how I can adjust what I'm doing to continue to help the amount of people I want to help, to continue to hit the goals that we have as a team, and continue to just live a life of purpose and what I wanted to do with the business. And so I was able to fine-tune the fundamentals and really get back to what was going to work moving forward. So we had our leadership retreat back in September, and these are just a couple of my cute girls. And I was talking with them, and I was saying, hey, how is your business going? Where are you at? What are your goals? How do you feel? And there was kind of this reoccurring theme of, well, I'm still putting in the work. I'm still showing up every day, but I'm not gaining momentum. I'm not bringing in the amount of challenges they want to do. They weren't hitting the goals they had. And so then we had to look at what they were doing. And lots of them, like it happens frequently, were taking on more, mentoring their coaches, making cuter graphics, finding content for their challenge groups, and doing all these things. And I'm like, okay, when's the last time you sat down and like legitimately did a power hour where you tracked it, where you expanded your network, where you did some invites, and you're like, oh, geez, like months. And I was like, okay, so that's probably why you're feeling this. And then I was chatting with other coaches just throughout the year, new coaches, veteran coaches, and it was always the same thing. If they felt a slump in their business, they weren't doing the stuff. And so I was on a live call with a Diamond Dash, and we were just doing a Q&A. And I'm very honest, I'm very just kind of forthright with my coaches. And for whatever reason, someone asked something, and I was just telling them to stop getting distracted by everything that was going on, stop doubting, stop taking time to do all this fluffy stuff, and to just do your crap. And so that became our team hashtag. And it's like well known now. Like if they ever come to me and they're like, Micah, oh, never mind. I just got to give him crap. I just got to give him crap. And I'm like, yeah, you're good. You do. And so we're going to kind of dig into what your crap is. But first, yeah, right? But first, I want you guys to realize that it doesn't matter the activities you're doing. It doesn't matter the behaviors that you do and the actions that you take if your mindset is not in the right place. So if you're not in a place of belief and confidence and just really feeling passionate about what you do, it doesn't matter the conversations you have. And it doesn't matter what you show up to track every single day, because it's going to come through in your conversations. It's going to come through in your posts. It's going to come through just like Chris was talking about. That is contagious, how you feel. So that's the first thing that you guys always have to control, is control your energy, control your mindset. When things were shifting, when volumes dipped, just when things were changing, I never once was like, shoot, is this going to be a good idea? Like, I'm seeing a massive volume drop. Clearly, this is not a good idea. Like, no. I was like, okay, I believe in corporate. I believe in the mission. They're way smarter than me, so I'm going to figure out how I'm going to make this work for my business. And that, I think, is something that, like, I don't even go to the round table very often because it's so hard for me to watch those posts where people are complaining and just being down. And I'm like, dude, just get to work. Like, believe in what we do and just get to work. Because we're going to shift. There's going to be changes. But in a down year, we're still able to build a 7-figure a year business in year 4. So it's not broken. What we do is not broken, but we have to innovate. So this is what I've done. This is your crap, okay? So you have the vital process. This works. And it works really well with your warm market particularly, okay? So I'm not going to show you on what the vital process is. We're all leaders. We all know what it is. But really quickly, we get clients, we get results, we convert them to coach, we develop leaders. That's the gist of it. But then what happens when you stop getting the clients? That's what I ran into. I was like, well, I'm not getting the challengers. They're not coming anymore. Like, what do I do now? And so the crap is the stuff that happens and that is absolutely essential before the vital process. And it's the funnel that keeps everything flowing so that the vital process can work, okay? So the steps to doing your crap. First, we have got to show up and share our journey every single day, all the time. Obviously, not a 6-pack right now, but I still show up and work out every single day. I still share my journey. I still share everything. It's part of life. So if you are trying to build your business and you're not at least doing this core fundamental thing, how are people going to trust you? How do you have credibility? How are they going to know to come to you or to take you seriously when you say, hey, I'm doing this, I want to help you? Well, you're not even doing it, okay? So always number 1. Number 2 is intentionally expanding your network. Now, this is the thing that I had to get super proactive about because I had kind of gotten to the point where I was relying on Facebook ads, I was relying on free groups and just relying on certain things that I was doing to bring in new people. They weren't always my people. They weren't always people who I wanted to be connecting with and I wanted to be working with. And just like they talked about on the panel earlier when I was talking about the difference between sponsoring and recruiting, this intentionally expanding your network, we're recruiting, we're finding people who we want to hang out with every single day in our challenge groups, in our teams, just walking arms with and doing this together. We get to find those people. So I got super proactive about utilizing Instagram and really digging into just going out there to find new people to talk to, which brings me to number 3, which is genuinely then connecting with people. And this is something that I didn't do for the first couple years of my business because I was putting my posts out there, I was interacting with people who were interacting with me, but I always told people, and I sound like such a biddy, but I was like, I don't have time to hate girl message. I don't like to back and forth chat. I don't like to do that. I don't have time. But then as I started to intentionally expand my network, I actually loved chatting with these new people. I love connecting with people from all over and getting to know them and getting to know who they are and getting to know where they've traveled and getting to know just different people. And that brought so much joy and fulfillment back into my business, where it wasn't about, okay, I'm going to talk to this girl because I want her to get in my challenge group. It was with no agenda whatsoever. No Beachbody, nothing Beachbody ever comes up until they bring it up or until I see the need to invite them to fill a void or to solve a problem that they've brought up. Okay, so just connecting with humans again and just being people focused. That's something that's been a common theme throughout the whole weekend, is just focusing on people and understanding that we have something that can truly change lives, but only if we're interested and invested in them first, okay? And then we have to make sure that we're continuing to promote our challenge groups, promote our sneak peeks, personally invite behind the scenes, because what I found is even after 4.5 years, where I would assume people just know I'm a coach, they know I love what I do, they know I help people, they know our team is having success, they know, but they don't. They don't. I'm no different from Sarah, who is an Emerald coach. to the outside world. Do you guys get that? So that's why it's so important that we're, as leaders, still taking the initiative to reach out our hand and say, hey, I'm doing this. I would love to work with you. Do you want to join me on the journey? Because they don't see that I'm a double star 15. Like, they don't care. Who cares? I'm just like Sarah. And if I'm not willing to help them and to reach out, then they're not going to come to me. And I want to continue to help new people, okay? So that is the crap. That then makes sure that you always have people to get into your challenge groups, to help get results, to help empower to coach, and then to develop as leaders. This is the stuff that's easy to do, and it's really easy not to do. And it's just like the compound effect. It takes time. You can stop doing it, and you don't really feel it. You still have people coming in until you don't. And then it's too late. And then you have to rebuild for a few months. So it's something that if you're starting kind of from square one and you're like, okay, I got to rebuild, give it time. Understand that it's going to take time to connect with people. It's going to take time to find new people, to figure out what your target is, to figure out who you want to surround yourself with, and to really build those solid relationships so that they trust you to join you and to overcome their limiting beliefs and their challenges and get on this life-changing journey with you, okay? So then as leaders, how do we do it all? Because that's a lot, right? You're like, okay, well now I have to do all this new stuff, all this crap that I haven't been doing for a couple years because I've been doing leadership stuff. So how do I do it all? Because we didn't sign up to coach because we want to be tied to our business. So we have to get smart. We have to work smarter, not harder. We have to master the mundane. So this stuff that I talked about, this is the stuff that moves the needle forward. Yes, trainings are awesome. Systems are essential. Graphics set you apart. Those things are great. But if you're sitting at the 15th of the month, still at Success Club Zero, making a dang cute graphic isn't going to help you hit your goals, okay? Same goes with your coaches. If they're feeling frustrated, we need to help them get back to the fundamentals that are going to move their business forward. The what doesn't change, the how does. So what grows a successful business isn't going to change. We have to connect with people. We have to bring in new people all the time so that they're seeing what we're doing so that we can invite them. We have to help people get results. We have to empower them. We have to help them be successful in the business. How that happens evolves. So it looks different how I do things now than how I did it day one, sure. But it's all the same. So if you're a people person and you're like, well, I don't want to do the Instagram thing, that's fine. But it's just kind of like PD. The concept is the same. You just have to figure out how to make it work for you, for your style, okay? And then work in your zone of genius and delegate the rest. So I'm a super control freak, and I had a hard time delegating anything for the first few years of my business. I was like, no one can do this as good as I can, so I can't afford to give anything away. I can't do it. It'll screw everything up. And then I was going crazy, and I was like, I can't handle this. So now, my biggest passion in the business is connecting with people, getting them started on my journey, really seeing them through, and also mentoring my coaches. Fills me up to see my coaches have success and to grow as humans. And so I have delegated some Instagram stuff. I've delegated, obviously I have a virtual assistant. You guys all know the drill with that. And then I finally gave in and I got a nanny and a housekeeper. And it was the best thing I ever did. I had mom guilt forever because I'm like, I always said I want to be a wife and mom. I want to be home with my kids. I want to do that. But I wasn't being the best wife and mom I could be because I was trying to do everything. So as soon as I got a nanny, cute nanny girl that comes in, if you see my journey, I have a 2-year-old, he's crazy. And so she comes in each day, plays with him, entertains him, cleans, does laundry, all the stuff I hate, she does it. And then when she leaves at 1 o'clock, I've been able to mentor my team, have scheduled calls, do all the stuff that I need to do that fulfills me and that fills me up. And then I can be a mom, and I can be insane, and I can be happy, and I don't feel like I have to be working all the time and trying to fit it in here and there. So that's what works for me. So you need to figure out what works for you. How can you do this and do everything that you need to do in your business and still have your sanity and your balance and everything? Because it is possible, I promise. And it's gonna look a little bit different for everyone. Okay, so really quick, I want you guys to ask yourself, do you have new prospects entering your funnel every single day? Do you spend intentional time connecting with them? Are you sharing your journey through your posts? Do you have a system in place that streamlines those mundane activities? And are you delegating tasks outside of your zone of genius? If you are doing these things, I promise you, you will continue to create momentum. You'll continue to see growth. You'll continue to have new people that are coming into your business. And I'm sorry, but without new people, we don't really have much of a business. We have to continue to help new people who want to keep moving forward. So wrapping up, all I gotta say is to keep pedaling, doing the basic stuff that maybe we've gotten away from, and to hashtag do your crap. Okay? Thanks, guys.
Alrighty. So, sorry, that's something back in my throat. So, I would love to go through and just kind of get some of you guys' takeaways.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
I want to get to talk with you guys about something.
Alrighty. Sorry, guys. So I'd love to go through and get some of you guys' takeaways. I can definitely tell you that I actually have a lot of takeaways from that. There's a lot of stuff that I really like that she says. And I like that she focuses on, because I don't really think that we focus enough on just the building the audience, if you will, but building the audience intentionally, right? And so I think that, and really connecting with those people before the invite process, which I struggle with a bit as well. But at the end of the day, it is truly building that relationship that's going to help create more of the trust that's going to allow them to be more open to receiving. But I also love that she talked about the importance of the mindset before you, like if you have a mindset of lack in your heart or lack in your ability to create anything or lack in your ability to inspire some change or be successful or whatever it is, regardless of what you try to do in terms of the actions, that's going to feed in to the way that we speak to people, to our conversations, to the way we interact, the way we post online, all this stuff. And that's going to come through. And I've noticed that wildly in our business, hugely in our business. So I think it was really good that she hit on that. But I'm just going to kind of call you guys out and walk through it and give me your biggest takeaway. And realizing, guys, that this was actually, she spoke at this was at a leadership retreat. So this was our leadership, 2-star, people are 2-star and above. I think it was actually only for 2-star diamonds. But nonetheless, there's some of the stuff that's a little bit like if you're a brand new coach, it might not make a lot of sense to you, or like you're not going to need to delegate stuff to an assistant right now. That's insane, right? But that's so kind of consider that some of that is for coaches that have starting to build a team and they've got to figure out what to do. But there's still some takeaways even from that we can talk about later. But Cassandra, what was your biggest takeaway? You unmute yourself.
There we go. The building the relationship before the invite, I'm starting to feel, because in the Diamond Code, we have our check off every day. I'm starting to feel a little robotic. Like, I'm searching for people to invite, first of all, which is fine. Like, I'm not complaining. So I hope nobody takes it that way. I'm not complaining, but I feel really cold. Like, hey, I'm inviting you. By the way, how are you doing? kind of like that weird, like, oh, I snagged you by getting you to answer me with a yes. And then it turns into, like, it's hard to backtrack and start a conversation when you've done the invite first. So I guess I'm just not confused, but maybe a little concerned. I mean, like I said, though, you guys are the experts at this. It's just, I feel a little cold. And I also feel like sometimes when I'm inviting kind of blindly, like I don't know where I'm going to plug them in at, because I've got, 72,000 groups that I'm keeping track of and so I don't know where to put them, and I don't want to lose sight. You know what I mean? Like I would really, that's what I took away from it. That's what I was really focusing on the whole time is the invites. And then I started going off into my own thought process of how I feel. No, I don't want to use that word. I'm not overwhelmed. I'm, again, concerned that I might be losing track of people when I want to make sure that I'm making that connection with my own challengers. And then also being able to keep up in my own challenge group that I am that I'm doing. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's it. I don't need to go anymore.
No, I totally agree. And to kind of touch on that, I think that's going to get a lot more a lot easier, I guess, a lot more organized once we actually start doing all of. That's why I like the idea of doing it all as one team challenge group and having like groups that everybody does together that we create a calendar for. That's like, okay, everybody knows this group starts on this day because it's everybody.
Okay.
Instead of
and that to me would make life so much more simple. And like I said, and being able to connect with the people that I've invited, because I don't want to invite and then check out because I've got a new group coming up and I need to get more people in that one. And then the next, and then them overlapping and me being like, well, so how'd you do? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of how I feel. Like, I'd rather, I don't know. I'll follow whatever, whatever you say. It's just concerning, but nothing huge.
Totally hear you. And we'll talk more about that too, because there's a lot going on there for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I have to see if I can unmute here. Okay, Amy, what was your takeaway?
Basically, because I'm so new to it, when I stress out about organization and worrying if I'm doing it right, as long as you stick to your basic stuff and start there, which she kept saying over and over, just start at the basics and then work from there, and don't let the big stuff get to you. Just start at the bottom, start with the basics. That's where I think I'm good at, right there. So I'll stay there. Start with the basics and go up from there, because I freak out if I get too much on me.
Oh, I hear you. I think that's kind of normal for everybody, especially as a new coach. It can be very overwhelming. But it's true. Like, I like the fact that she focuses back to that funnel, right? And refocuses on, okay, what do we need to do? We need to work on ourselves, right? And then we need to start growing our audience on purpose, sharing our journey, right? And building the relationships with that audience. And I like the fact, again, that she says before we get into the invite process, we build those relationships so we have people to invite, right? And it seems more kind of organic and less pushed, if you will. Right. So I like that. I like that a lot. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Jen, what was your takeaway? I already unmuted you.
Oh, you did? Okay. I actually had the same two things written down that you had mentioned. I wrote down a mindset of belief and confidence and passion going into it. Like before you even sit down at your computer, just to get that. That's something I've been trying to keep in the forefront of my head. And then to not just expand your network, but to intentionally expand your network so that you're finding the people that you're going to connect with, that you're going to vibe with, rather than all the random people that end up on your friends list that you never really feel any connection to, and that makes it really awkward and uncomfortable to try and force a relationship and then make an invite happen out of that. And those aren't the people that you're going to invest into or feel drawn to add to your team as a partner, a business builder working with you to build your own team. So being intentional.
Totally. I agree. I now, even before that, recently, I've been going through and like, if I have, because I've got all my stuff in Streak, so I've got all my friends list in Streak, and I just go through and it just tells me like, okay, this is the person that I start the relationship with and the conversation with. And if I click on their URL or click on their Facebook page or whatever, and I look at them and I scroll through them, I'm like, if this person is not somebody that's like really in my tribe, I delete it completely. I'm not even gonna start, because it's just gonna be a pushed conversation. It's not gonna have any real, like, it's gonna be me just trying to figure out something that I can have in common with them. And and it's not gonna be fun for me. It's not gonna feel natural. It's not gonna feel natural for them, where it's like, why even get into that? And it's not enjoyable. You know what I mean? And it's like, they're not gonna like me probably, and I'm not really gonna mesh with them. We're not in the same tribe. It's not gonna make sense. So why even go through that hassle and that frustration? So I'm with you 100% on that. I think it's really, really important. And the confidence thing is massive. We said that a million times with people. That's personal development. That's why we say personal development. That's why it is a game changer. That's why if you don't read personal development and you're not falling in and working on your mindset, it's going to be, you're making it way harder on yourself. It's just as simple as that. Like, this is going to be a much harder business, and it's going to be much harder to help people if you're not constantly trying to build, really, essentially at the end of the day, it's not just our skill set, it's our self-esteem. That's really what we're working on. That's what the workouts are about. That's what the nutrition plans are about, right? Not looking a certain way, working through the progress and recognizing that you can do it and building your confidence so that you can move forward and spread that confidence around, because that's what people are attracted to, is the confidence that you can. If you don't think that's true, walk into a party and see someone standing next to the wall, kind of with a slumped over like that, and ask yourself, is that the person that I want to go hang out with? Or is this person over here that's smiling at me saying, hey, how are you? That just seems really open and genuine. Is that the person I want to hang out with? You're naturally going to be drawn to the person that's smiling at you. Even if they're not saying anything, that looks over and smiles at you and says, hi, how are you? You're naturally going to be drawn. The person that's over and hiding in the corner, you're naturally going to be drawn away from them, because it's going to be something you're like, I don't want to be around that energy necessarily, right? Like, so it's a big deal. So thank you, Jen. I appreciate that. Okay, Justice. Hold on a second. I'm trying to unmute. There it goes. Okay.
There we go. I think I did it. I'm right there with Cassandra with, I was really stuck on that takeaway of, like the invites, because that's been my biggest thing. I know as like a new coach, is that there's people that I obviously am not really familiar with that I've been adding recently. And then there's people that I haven't talked to in God knows how long. And I just message them and I never really know what to say, because I don't want to just be like, hey, like, guess what? And like go right into that. But like at the same time, like, I don't know how to approach that. So like, I was just stuck on that and like all those different ways of like, that I could approach that. And my head was just going a million miles a minute. And that's just something that I've been like focusing on every single day. And confidence is a really big thing. So like, I'm glad that you brought that up, because that's like, I've just started reading The Compound Effect, and just kind of like after you are a badass. And like, now that I'm reading The Compound Effect, like, I think that obviously like confidence is like a huge thing. So that's the two things that I kind of took from that.
Absolutely. No, you're dead on. And I like your perspective, because you're the newest. I think you're the youngest coach. Well, technically, you're probably the youngest coach and the youngest coach on the team as well, right? So you have a very, like, you watching that is going to be a different perspective than most everybody else. And yeah, I think you're definitely spot on with that. And I think that's something. So this is why, as a brand new coach, this is why we say, the first people that you invite, you always speak to your warm market, like talk to people that you already know. So you already have that relationship with them. So you don't have to build that process with them, right? Because that should already be there. And then while you're inviting those people, it gives you the opportunity to then build the relationship with new people, right? So that when those people run out of, you don't have those people to invite anymore, you're just following up with them, you can automatically transition, and you'll have that constant flow of new people to invite, because you've been building those relationships throughout that invite process, right? So right now, it would literally look like you saying, okay, now who can I go back that I've already got relationships with, invite, right? And then while I'm doing that, I need to invite those people, but I also need to be very proactive about starting conversations with new people and building those relationships. And that's literally what I'm telling myself. I'm legitimately going to do the exact same thing, because I was thinking, how can I take this to me? Because I don't have a warm market. I lost my warm market 3 years ago. You know what I mean? So like, if I was going to start over right now and start with this process, what does that look like for me? I can't stop inviting. Who do I invite? And we just kind of work through that process. Say hi, babe. Oh my gosh, let me see your eyes. Somebody just had her eyebrows done, and they're
okay.
they're supposed to be dark. They said they're good. Yeah, Yeah, they're going to lighten up in a couple days. But yes, so thank you, Justice. I appreciate that. Okay, Patrick, hold on a second. I can't unmute people. What is the deal? You go. Try to unmute yourself. Okay, there you go. I don't know why mine wasn't. So I don't know at what point you joined in that, which time you start. So I don't know how much of that you saw because I just came off and you were on here. So how?
I saw probably the last 15 minutes of it.
Okay, perfect. So it's only 20 minutes long. So you saw the vast majority of it. So what were your takeaways from it?
My huge takeaways from it were that although you want your content to be crisp, just because you shouldn't spend all your time to make your content crisp and perfect and everything. Just get your content out there, and then also make sure you're building those relationships before you're inviting. That way you can know if it's the person that you want to join your tribe, that you want to be kind of helping out and really finding out what they need help with, or if they need help with, before you even send out that invite. And that was really huge for me because I try to make everything perfect before I post. And sometimes I just got to get away from that and just post and get out there.
Totally. And I'm really glad you brought that up too, because even larger than just the posting aspect, I love that she hit on that and that she hit on it pretty hard, which is basically because we hear it all the time. And this is what happens to us too. It's easy to get focused on other things and not recognize that if we're not doing the fundamental things, if we're not working on ourselves, we're not sharing what we're doing online, sharing our journey, and we're not building relationships so we have people to invite, we're not growing our business. I don't care what we do, And so for the same side, it also looks like, well, okay, if you're struggling in the business, then it's going to be always step back to what of those things are you doing? Because again, like she said, it was the easy things to do, but also the easy things not to do. So whenever people sit back and go, well, I'm really having a hard month or something's going on. Okay, let's look back. A, how's your mindset? That's the number one thing, right? Are you working on yourself? Are you doing your, physically and mentally? And then B, are you inviting? Are you starting relationships? Are you sharing online? Like, well, kind of sometimes. Okay, well then kind of sometimes you're going to grow the business, right? And kind of sometimes you're not. Like that's kind of how it goes. So I love that you hit on that, and I love that you hit on that. And it isn't about everything being perfect and and being super crisp, like you said. We're doing it. It's about just doing it. It's better to be done and do stuff than it is to do stuff imperfect than to do stuff than not do stuff because it's not perfect. Hold on a second. Sorry. There, I muted you. Jessica, you're the last one, so you get the hardest job, and I did that on purpose because I figured there it goes.
Well, I think that that's what we've been trying to focus on. I think a lot of us in the Diamond group are all doing that, just really doing the daily vitals, really like those things every day. And I really identified with when she talked about targeting your market, because I feel like that's what I've been doing in this last few months over on Instagram. And it, like when she said, you have to expect there to be some time between that, I feel like that's what I've been experiencing. I'm definitely finding a market that I feel like is more like me and people I would hang out with. But we're still going through that kind of getting to know each other period. So yeah, just kind of making sure that we do that consistently every day. I think that's always the key, and the thing that I'm trying to work on the most right now is just trying to hit those things every day.
I totally agree. Consistency. So there's one other thing that she said, and I just remembered it right now, that was like, poof, for me. Okay. I guarantee every single person on this call or that watches this has had this in their mind at one point, because I know I have, and I know it's a natural thing. Especially when you first start coaching, a lot of there's going to be a part of insecurity that is based in, when you look at the people, we play the comparison game, right? You'll look at this super successful coach and they go, yeah, but they've got this, this, and this, and they're a 10-star diamond and they know all this stuff. And so that's why they're so good at what they do, and da-da-da-da. And when she was like, I'm a superstar diamond, nobody online knows what that is. Nobody cares. If you're not in the Beachbody world, you don't know she's just like any single person on this call right now or that watches this call right now to everybody else. They don't know anything else about you. So it goes both ways, right? It doesn't matter if you're a 30, 40, 80-star diamond. People don't, especially people that you're just starting to interact with, they don't even know what that means. They have no understanding of that. It doesn't make you any different than anybody else. So we all truly are starting and working at the same level every single time. The only thing that separates her or any other successful coach from any coach that's not really successful is their willingness and determination to continue doing things and push them outside their comfort zone, and their confidence in their ability, or their confidence in their drive to make things happen. That's it. That's the only difference between the successful coach and the not successful coach. So it was really interesting to me because I'm like, I want to act like a 5-star or 10-star diamond, whatever elite coach, whatever it is that we want to be, because I need to do those actions. But people online don't know that. Nobody that I'm talking to has any understanding what that is. So why do I feel like I'm not as good, for instance, as a person like her or, any other successful coach? Why do I feel not at that level, right? It makes zero difference because people we're interacting with have no idea. So to them, I am at that level because they don't know what the levels are. It's completely a level playing field. But does that make sense? Did anybody else catch that? Does anybody else ever felt like that? Like compared yourself to somebody, like to another coach? Yeah, right? Cassandra? Yeah, Jessica? Absolutely. And felt like, well, I can't be successful. They're successful for these reasons, right? But they're only successful because of the audience. And if the audience doesn't know that they're successful in that rate, then what does it matter, right? We're all the same. We're as successful as we allow ourselves to be, or we believe that we can be, and as successful as we'll show up to be, right? They're successful because they're doing the work. That's it, Deanna, do you have anything to add before I let everybody go? I don't know if you watched that today or.
I watched a little bit of it today. Just really quick, when you said the comparison game, like, truth be told, like, we've been very blessed to be able to kind of pick top coaches' brains many times, because that's the thing I love about Team Beachbody. It's not like, oh, it's just our team. It's like we're really all one big collective team that people love to share information. And those fears that you were just talking about, like, we're comparing ourselves to another coach that might be at some level. Those top coaches, the top coach still compares themselves to other coaches. Oh, their Instagram game is on point, or their stories are on point, or they look all put together, or they, have this and that and that. So no matter if you're a brand new coach or you're a top 10 coach, they still have those same insecurities. They just don't let that direct their actions, right? So they acknowledge it, it's still there, but they persevere despite it. So I think that's really insightful that they still go through all the same feelings that we feel. They just don't allow it to determine what their next step is going to be. If that makes sense.
Yeah. They're just willing to fail more. And you know what I mean? Like that's all it gets down to. They're willing to like just try something different and kind of throw stuff at the wall and just have belief that it's going to work out. It's exactly like she said, right? Even in that call, she said literally when, like, I don't know. So for some of you coaches, you weren't here last year coaching. And you weren't here the year before that. So you didn't see last year was a tough year for the business, period. Across the board, as she said, volume dipped. A lot of things were changing. A lot of things were coming in. It was just a rough year for everybody. But as she even said, not one time did she ever think, oh my gosh, this isn't going to work. Oh my gosh, this is happening. Oh my gosh, it's just no longer working, or da-da-da. It was never in her mind. In her mind, it was, okay, I trust Beachbody Corporate. I trust that they know what they're doing better than I do. That's why they have created a billion-dollar company. I haven't yet. So I don't know this like they know this. So I've got to trust in what they're doing and have some faith in them. And therefore, knowing that, it's not a question of will it work? It's a question of how do I make this work for my business now? Because the system will work, right? Beachbody works. The business model works. Like all of this stuff works. It has nothing to do with the business not working. It has everything to do with our ability to work the business, or our willingness to work the business and actually show up and do it and have belief in what we're doing, what we have to offer, and what we're going to build. So yeah, that was a really good point, Diana. Thank you. All right. Anybody have any questions? And I'll let you guys go. Anybody? Okay. All right, guys. Then I will let you guys go to the rest of your evening and enjoy your friends. You guys have a fantastic night. I appreciate you showing up, and we'll see you guys very soon. All right. We'll see you guys.